Okay, now you have finished the second sentence combining set, and you probably know more about mosquitoes than you ever dreamed you would learn in an English class. By the way, this is one of the cool things about being an English major. You're not just studying grammar and subjects and verbs and spelling and all that. You spend a lot of time learning about the bigger, wider world, and you've figured that out already from this course. So, what we're going to be doing with this set, these six sentences, or these six sets of sentences, we are going to be working our way through them very quickly and then asking the question, which sentences are better? With six sets, that's difficult to say, with six sets of sentences and three in each, there are 18 different sentences. All are grammatically correct. Nothing wrong with those. In fact, the little feeder sentences, nothing wrong with those either. The question is, which ones would be better to use? So we're going to talk about that after I take a look at the six write-outs. Here comes the first set. A little more stuff here than we had with Maxwell Bratt. Most mosquitoes need a meal. The meal is blood. The meal is needed to produce a family. Write out A. Most blank of blood to produce blank. Most female mosquitoes need a meal of blood to produce a family. B starts off a little differently. In order to produce a family, most female mosquitoes need a meal of blood. And the third one, a meal of blood is needed by most female mosquitoes so they can produce a family. Here comes the second set. A little simpler. This meal enables the female to lay eggs. The eggs number as many as 300. We've got that dash again. I rather like the dash. It's a little breezier, but it's one of those things you see rarely, and so I use it a lot. This meal enables the female to lay eggs, dash as many as 300. Parentheses tend to whisper, and you have to have both of them around something. A dash, if it's at the end of a sentence, you only need one, and it does tend to shout a little bit more than whispering. Very straightforward sentence B. This meal enables the female to lay as many as 300 eggs. And sentence C. As a result, the female can lay as many as 300 eggs. Third set. There's rather a lot here. I had trouble fitting it all on one slide. We've got 5 things to deal with: blood, skin, long, thin, proboscis. She gets the blood by jabbing a long, thin tube called a proboscis into the victim's skin. One of the things you can see in sentence A is that commas show up for several different reasons. That called a proboscis, that's one of those renaming phrases, and it's got to have the commas on both sides. Long, thin tube. Well, if you've got two modifiers modifying the same thing, comma goes between them. It's a long tube and it's a thin tube. And in sentence B, a comma shows up again for a different reason. To get the blood, she jabs what is called a proboscis, dash, a long thin tube, dash into her victim's skin. And here we see the dashes in a pair. It would work just as well to put parentheses around it. And finally, C, which is not a great deal different from A. A long, thin tube called a proboscis is jabbed into her victim's skin to get the blood. Here's the fourth set. This is where you start learning some surprising things about mosquitoes. She sucks 1.5 times her weight. She sucks it through the tube. Three pretty simple sentences. She sucks 1.5 times her weight through the tube. Through the tube, she sucks 1.5 times her weight. 1.5 times her weight is sucked through the tube. As a writer, one of the ways you can tell the reader what you want to focus on is by putting it at the front of the sentence. Are you interested in emphasizing that she's doing it? Are you emphasizing that it's the tube? Or are you interested in emphasizing how much? You get to choose, and one of the ways you show the reader which one you've chosen is to move the important stuff to the front of the sentence. Fifth set. Okay, we got irritating saliva, itching, and disease germs. Her saliva irritates the victim's skin, causes itching, and can spread disease germs. Here we've got commas doing yet another thing. We've got a list of three things. Three things are going on: irritating, causing itching, and can spread. A little differently here. Not only does it do one thing, but it can do another thing. Not only does her saliva irritate the victim's skin and cause itching. We've got a list of two: irritate and cause. This is just one of those little glitches in the English language. When you've got a list of two things, no comma. So we've got that list of two things that her saliva does: irritating and causing itching. And then comma, we've got this construction, not only but also, and we need a comma with that. And then a very straightforward item 3 here: her saliva is a skin irritant that causes itching and can also spread disease germs. And the last set. Now we get down to talking about the male mosquito. He doesn't. This was a surprise to me, by the way, that male mosquitoes aren't sucking my blood. They're going to the flowers. The male mosquito, which gets all his nourishment from flowers, doesn't need blood. Once again, we've got that parenthetical phrase, which gets all his nourishment from flowers. We could take that out and we lose some information, but we don't change this into a lie or some different kind of thing. Taking it out, the male mosquito doesn't need blood. If it's a parenthetical phrase like that, commas go around it on both sides. Pretty much the same structure in sentence B. The male mosquito, which doesn't need blood, gets all his nourishment from flowers. And a very different thing in sentence C. Getting all his nourishment from flowers, the male mosquito doesn't need blood.